So you guys met Glaucomflecken earlier. We were talking about flashes and floaters, flashes and floaters, and he was killing me, even talking about clinical stuff. But what you might not know is that he is also a stand-up comic. His primary outlet, besides doing actual stand-up in front of a crowd, is Twitter. And I'm just going to present you with a few of my favorites before we have him come up on stage, just to get an idea of his humor. Who doesn't love an award? Really? Congratulations, sir. No, never sorry. You're a winner. Now, you are very comfortable in the emergency department. You know, you go there every day, shooting, stabbing, whatever, no problem. Have you ever wondered what it's like with ectopic ophthalmology in the ED? Ladies and gentlemen, Will Flanary, Dr. Glaucomflecken. Congratulations.
So
Congratulations.
All right. Shout out to Rob for inducing like 10 hyphemas just now. All right. So, before I get into the talk, I was on the website, and I noticed that all the other faculty and speakers, they have these really professional photos of themselves where they're like in mid-talk, like mid-sentence, their lighting's perfect, they look like they're really, have something very important to say. And then there's my photo on the website, which is just a picture of this cartoon ophthalmoscope wearing a top hat. So I thought that I would just try to strike some poses real quick so that the AV team could just, in case I come back another time, could use those photos instead of the cartoon one. So just bear with me for a second. All right, ready? Okay, that's okay. How about all right, one more. Something like, okay, thank you for indulging me on that. So normally I would come up here and I would just tell you guys a bunch of jokes. Yeah, I just do something silly like, I don't know, spend 10 minutes interpreting EKGs. I'm not going to do that. I want to talk about the most important public health crisis affecting society today. That's right. I'm talking about ophthalmologists responding to in-flight medical emergencies. Now, the opioid crisis, the anti-vax movement, these are very important issues that we need to address, but this affects several people every year. Allow me to paint a picture for you. Imagine you're in the middle of a flight. You start developing a little tightness in your chest, a little pain radiating down your arm. You get a little short of breath. You hunch forward. You fall out of your seat. You're now laying in the aisle. The flight attendant sees you immediately and calls out, "Is there a doctor on the plane?" And before you know it, there's someone kneeling next to you. He takes your hand. He says, "It's okay. I'm a doctor, and I'm here to help." And then he proceeds to check confrontation visual fields. He asks the flight attendant where on the plane they keep the slit lamp. Rummages around your bag, finds a bottle of nitroglycerin tablets, and then repeatedly asks how many of these you're supposed to take. 1 or 2? 1 or 2? Now, this is a big problem, but this has been something that's going on for years. Going back to 1973, the first time an ophthalmologist ever responded to an in-flight medical emergency. Reports indicate that when the flight attendant asked for a doctor, the ophthalmologist stood up in the back of the plane and yelled out, "It's fine. I'll see him in clinic on Monday." Now, I question the accuracy of this account, because in what world would an ophthalmologist ever be sitting in the back part of a plane? It only gets worse from there. 1981. An investigation was done after an ophthalmologist diverts a plane because he thought a passenger should have had cardiac clearance before being allowed to fly. Not a good look. And then 1993, the American Academy of Ophthalmology is in full-on crisis mode at this point. They recommend that all ophthalmologists wait a few minutes before responding to an emergency, just in case someone more qualified is around, like an emergency physician or a nurse, med student, hospital volunteer, precocious 12-year-old who just wants to take a crack at it. But I don't think we should be blaming ophthalmologists for this problem. It's not our fault. We're just not equipped to handle these types of situations. And I mean that literally. We don't have any of our equipment. Come on, you guys know what it looks like when an ophthalmologist shows up in the emergency department? We're carrying industrial-sized luggage. Look at this thing. It could withstand a nuclear strike, which is fortunate, because I would have a lot of orbital fractures to see. But they're not going to let me carry this on the plane. No way. Gate check, maybe. So, what do you expect me to do? Just respond to an in-flight emergency using nothing except for this direct ophthalmoscope I keep with me at all times? It's not reasonable. Here's an idea. I think we should all just respond to the medical emergencies that pertain to our specialty. Eye doctors would only see eye emergencies. Dermatologists would only see derm emergencies. You guys would only see emergencies. And I have already talked about this with pathology and radiology. They love the idea. Very enthusiastic. But I get it. That might not be fair. Out of all the in-flight medical emergencies that occurred last year, only one was eye-related. All right, but thank God an ophthalmologist was on that flight. Otherwise, that pilot still be looking for his contact lens. There's actually a lot more in-flight eye emergencies than you would think. The third most common, acute photophobia. Now, you might think, okay, iritis, acute angle closure glaucoma. Yeah, well, you'd be wrong. It's actually someone that just needs to close their window shade. The sun is bright at 35,000 feet, and I am happy to help. Second most common in-flight eye emergency, dry eye. Nothing will turn a perfectly adequate flight into a mildly frustrating flight like developing dry eye. We take this very seriously. And the best way to treat dry eye is to prevent it from happening in the first place. I will not hesitate to apply a hot compress to the person in front of me by surprise. When other people sleep on the plane, do I sleep? No. I walk up and down the aisle, redirecting the little air vents so they're not blowing on sleeping people's faces. No need to thank me. The look on their face when they wake up with perfectly lubricated eyeballs. It's thanks enough. Finally, the number one in-flight eye emergency, of course, Visine use. Rampant Visine use on planes. Now I can sense some skepticism in the crowd right now. A lot of you are thinking, Visine? Come on. How is that an emergency? How is Visine dangerous? Well, maybe I need to remind you that Visine can be used to murder people. Yeah. Did you know that? You guys aren't the only ones that deal in life or death situations. It's you guys and it's ophthalmology. That's it. That's the list. 2 peas in a pod, ophthalmology and you guys in emergency. Now, I don't want to end this just talking about Visine. That's my least favorite thing in the world. I want to talk about how we can improve, how we can get better. And I think it all comes down to education. And I don't mean educating ophthalmologists. No. We are way too far gone. No. I'm talking about educating the public. Now, this is already something that I do on planes. I'm sure you guys do too. As soon as I sit down, first thing I do, I tell everyone around me I'm an ophthalmologist. And then I eat a jumbo bag of baby carrots. Why? So that for the rest of those people's lives, they'll tell children they should eat their carrots because they once saw an eye doctor eat over 200 of them in under an hour. That's why. Now, we need to educate people about the dangers of ophthalmologists responding to in-flight medical emergencies. That's why from now on, as soon as I get to the gate, I am standing on a chair and I am telling everybody who will listen, I am an ophthalmologist and perhaps the only medical professional on this flight. Board at your own risk. One of 2 things will happen. Either security will come and take me away for questioning, or I will get on that flight and I will get to choose any seat I want. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you so much. Have a great night.